Guns that you want, but are too dangerous to use. Sounds dramatic, right? But the truth is, some firearms gain fame or notoriety for reasons beyond a cool design or brand name. Today, we'll discuss 6 examples that many folks admire yet have some hair-raising quirks. From surprising malfunctions to awkward handling, these guns aren't always as safe as you'd hope. Let's jump right in. We kick things off with the Brico Jennings 9, which many people first encounter through gun show lore or secondhand markets where budget-friendly options are the main draw. If you've heard it referred to as a Saturday night special, you've got the right idea. It's a compact semi-automatic pistol chambered for 9mm that gained popularity largely due to its very low purchase cost. Often hovering around 20 ounces, this pistol is lightweight for a 9mm handgun. While that might initially seem like a plus, especially if you're looking for something easy to carry, it also means the recoil can feel uncomfortably snappy. Muzzle rise might be more prominent than you'd expect, which can hurt accuracy. In rapid-fire drills, the barrel is generally around 3.5 inches, so while it's good for concealment, it can make precision shooting a bit tougher. Typically, the factory magazine holds around 12 rounds of 9mm. That capacity sounds decent on paper for a compact platform. The rub comes from the pistol's overall build. The frame is usually a zinc alloy, frequently derided as pot metal, chosen to keep manufacturing costs down. Unfortunately, zinc alloys tend not to hold up as well as steel or aluminum over time, leading to increased wear. The Brico Jennings 9 uses a striker-fired mechanism that many owners describe as feeling gritty, inconsistent, or both. This can lead to accidental discharges if a shooter's trigger discipline isn't impeccable. Compounding the issue, some versions have a rudimentary manual safety that has been reported to fail or simply not engage properly when needed most. A minimal, fixed sight system further adds to the challenge, since aligning the short sight radius can be tricky under stress. Really, the only standout feature is the attractively low price tag. On the plus side, it's easy to tuck away due to its compact size. On the minus side, that advantage is overshadowed by the gun's reputation for cracking frames and unpredictable malfunctions. If you're on a budget, it's tempting to pick up something cheap, but with the Brico Jennings 9, you may be buying into more than you bargained for. Its questionable safety profile has earned it a reputation that is hard to shake. Next up is the Notorious PT-22, a tiny pocket pistol chambered in 22 LR. If you look purely at specs, an overall weight of about 11 ounces, an extremely compact form factor, and a user-friendly tip-up barrel. It seems like a no-brainer for concealed carry or as a backup gun. But as we know, specs can be deceiving. The PT-22 is extraordinarily lightweight and often comes with either a polymer or aluminum alloy frame. This design aims for convenience and easy handling, especially for individuals who might struggle with larger slides or heavier recoil. The magazine usually holds 8 rounds. Because it's shooting 22 LR, the felt recoil is minimal, which is attractive to those seeking a gentle shooting platform. One of the Notorious PT-22's signature features is its tip-up barrel, roughly 2.75 inches long. You can unload or load the chamber without racking the slide, a boon for shooters who might have weaker hands or experience difficulty with standard semi-automatic slides. However, numerous reports have surfaced about the barrel latch wearing out or failing, leading the barrel to pop open unexpectedly. This is a double action only DAO system, meaning each trigger pull is longer and often heavier than that of the single action pistol. Some users adapt easily, but plenty of newcomers complain about an inconsistent trigger that can contribute to double taps or misfires. On top of that, the PT-22's track record for feeding 22 ammo reliably leaves much to be desired. Anyone who's shot rimfire ammunition extensively knows it can be finicky, but the PT-22 sometimes pushes that finickiness to a new level. Notorious includes a manual safety on the frame, but if the tip-up barrel or the latch is compromised, having the safety on may not provide much comfort. The low-profile sights are another limitation. They don't lend themselves to great accuracy beyond very short distances. The PT-22 is definitely small, so small that folks with average or large hands often find the grip inadequate. While it slides easily into a pocket or purse, The bigger question is whether you can depend on it to cycle properly when you need it most. Between reported failures to feed, occasional breakages, and a challenging DAO trigger, it's no wonder why many shooters label this gun cute but risky. Before we move on to the next one on the list, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you're enjoying this content so far, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. Thanks to all of you who do. Now we move into less obvious territory with a rifle that's globally revered for its accuracy and reliability, the Remington Model 700. This bolt-action mainstay has served in civilian hunting camps and military sniper roles alike. However, older editions featuring the original Walker trigger design have been at the center of the controversy and lawsuits for years. The crux of the matter is that certain early production Model 700 rifles allegedly cloud fire without the trigger being touched, often due to a buildup of debris or improper maintenance, exacerbating a design flaw. Remington at one point offered to replace or modify these triggers, but not all owners took advantage of that program. The notion of a rifle discharging unexpectedly is, needless to say, alarming for hunters and sportsmen. Chambered in popular hunting calibers like .30-06 Springfield, .308 Winchester, and others, the Model 700 typically weighs somewhere between 7 and 9 pounds, depending on barrel profile and stock material. Barrels can range from 20 inches on compact hunting versions up to 26 inches on specialized varmint or long-range builds. Magazines generally hold 3 to 5 rounds, all feeding from an internal system. When discussing the Model 700, it's worth noting that the action and barrel are typically made from robust steel. The stock could be walnut, synthetic, or laminate, depending on the model. Such solid construction is partly why the rifle gained a stellar reputation for precision shooting and reliability over the decades. Many Model 700s come with a 2-position or 3-position safety. In theory, this gives the operator more control over how the rifle is handled, especially during a hunt. Ergonomically, the design has always been considered comfortable for extended shooting sessions, with most stocks offering a good cheek weld. The older trigger assemblies are the main reason the Model 700 finds itself here. Modern triggers or carefully maintained older triggers might never pose a problem, but the documented cases of random discharges are enough to warrant caution. If you're looking at purchasing a used Model 700, perhaps inheriting one from a family member, do some homework on which trigger is installed. Ignoring this step could lead to frightening mishaps in the field or at the range. Our third contender is a breed apart, towing the line between shotgun and not shotgun firearm due to some legal classification twists. Say hello to the Mossberg Shockwave. Available in 12 gauge and also 20 gauge or 410 depending on the model, it sports a bird's head grip instead of a standard stock, keeping the overall length just over 26 inches, enough to avoid certain National Firearms Act regulations. But for all its cool factor, it also comes with a steep learning curve. Weighing around 5.3 pounds, the Shockwave is relatively light for a 12-gauge platform, meaning recoil can be intense. Its barrel is a short 14 inches, which drastically reduces the typical sight radius you'd get on a standard shotgun. That alone demands careful handling. There's a simple bead sight up front, but precise aiming can be challenging. The Mossberg Shockwave is a pump-action system with a magazine tube that generally holds 5 or 6 shells. Pump actions are inherently reliable, but the abbreviated barrel and unique grip substantially affect how you manage recoil. The tank safety, a Mossberg hallmark, sits conveniently on top of the receiver, which is one of the more user-friendly features. If you've ever fired a 12 gauge with a standard shoulder stock, you know it can kick. Now imagine removing the stock and replacing it with a small, bird's head grip. That change means your wrist and forearm absorb the brunt of the recoil, and any lapse in proper technique could cause the muzzle to flip dramatically. Muzzle control becomes a significant safety issue. If your hold slips, the firearm could end up pointed somewhere very unsafe in a split second. While the Shockwave isn't exactly a carry gun, it's too big to just slide into a waistband. The short length does make it easier to stow in small spaces like under a vehicle seat or in a narrow closet. People often buy it for home defense or novelty reasons, but its real-world utility requires a lot of practice to handle safely. If you're not prepared for the recoil, or you don't invest time in learning proper technique, this firearm can pose more risk than reward. When it comes to iconic hand cannons, few firearms steal the spotlight like the Desert Eagle chambered in .50 Action Express. Known for its massive size, jaw-dropping recoil, and frequent appearances in Hollywood, it's as much a showpiece as it is a functional pistol. Yet the very qualities that make it famous are also what make it a hazard for certain shooters. The Desert Eagle is no lightweight. Tipping the scales at around 4.4 pounds unloaded, it's cumbersome compared to most standard handguns. The large frame accommodates a gas-operated rotating bolt mechanism not commonly found in pistols. If you're imagining typical handguns, this is a different animal altogether. The .50 AE cartridge is gigantic compared to most pistol calibers. With a magazine capacity usually around 7 rounds, you'll definitely notice the cost of ammunition, and the recoil impulse will leave a lasting impression. The muzzle blast alone is enough to make spectators at the range lean back. Recoil with the .50 AE is notorious. Shooters unaccustomed to large caliber handguns might experience severe muzzle flip and a punishing jolt to their wrists. In rapid fire, controlling follow-up shots demands strength, technique, and a firm grip. It's easy for a slide or ejected brass to cause injuries if your stance or grip isn't rock solid. The Desert Eagle's grip is massive, which is a problem for shooters with smaller hands. The standard barrel length is usually 6 inches, though longer versions exist. Sights are generally robust, often adjustable, to cope with powerful caliber's potential range. But practically this is a huge pistol to carry, and concealment is essentially out of the question. There's nothing inherently flawed in the Desert Eagle's engineering. It's a well-made handgun. The danger comes from the user side. Inexperienced individuals can be startled by the recoil and muzzle blast, leading to poor muzzle discipline or accidental discharges. The gun's sheer weight and large frame can tempt shooters to adopt an awkward grip. One slip and you could end up with a slide bite or a round going someplace you never intended. This is definitely a case of respect the power or don't bother. This might come as a shock because the Glock 17 is widely praised as one of the most reliable and safe polymer-framed handguns on the market. Chambered in 9mm with a 17-round factory magazine capacity, the Glock 17 is renowned for its durability, ease of maintenance, and proven performance record. So how does it land at the top spot? A new, well-maintained Glock 17 is famous for its consistent performance. It typically weighs about 25 ounces unloaded, sports Glock's safe action trigger system, and a barrel length of roughly 4.49 inches. The polymer frame keeps the pistol light, the grip angle is comfortable for many shooters, and the internal safeties generally do a good job preventing accidental discharges, provided the user respects basic firearm safety. Over the years, law enforcement agencies rotate through Glocks in large numbers. These used pistols sometimes flood the civilian market at discounted prices. Some have tens of thousands of rounds through them with minimal armorer-level maintenance. Parts like springs, firing pins, or even the trigger assembly may be on the verge of failing from wear. Worse yet, certain individuals buy these secondhand Glocks and decide to improve them using aftermarket components, like lighter trigger kits or extended controls, without truly knowing how to install or test these parts properly. A once reliable pistol can become a ticking time bomb if crucial components are damaged or installed incorrectly. Glock pistols do not feature a traditional external manual safety. Instead, they rely on the trigger tab safety and internal mechanisms to prevent an unintended discharge. If these internal parts are worn down or modified poorly, that safety margin narrows drastically. Combine that with owners who might carry the gun tucked into a waistband or a poorly fitted holster, and you've got a recipe for negligent discharges. The Glock 17's relatively compact form factor for a full-size 9mm makes it a popular concealed carry option, although many prefer the smaller Glock 19. In either case, the potential for hidden damage in these heavily used, cheaply purchased trade-ins escalates risk. If you're planning on picking up a used Glock, do yourself a favor, inspect the internals or have a certified Glock armorer check it out. It's a small investment that can head off serious safety problems. Hopefully, this exploration shed some light on how dangerous can mean different things, be it subpar materials, odd design choices, or sheer neglect over time. Even a proven firearm can morph into a safety hazard if it's poorly maintained or improperly modified. Always research before you buy and commit to a safe gun handling once you do. If you found this video helpful, hit that subscribe button and share your thoughts below. Let's stay sharp, stay safe, and keep enjoying our passion for firearms responsibly. Catch you in the next one.